let it drop. Let it drop.
Welcome to From Change to Change. I'm Consuela Sway Gaines, Director of Organizing with Voice of the Experience, also known as VOTE.
And my name is Marcus Simmons. Everyone knows me as ChiChi, and I'm also an organizer for VOTE.
And today we will be sitting down with someone who decided to step up and do something about her community by running for city court judge. But before we get into that, I just want to put this disclaimer out there that we are a nonprofit and we are not endorsing this candidate. We are allowing her to be on our show with us so that you, our viewers, can get to know her, her platform, and you decide whether or not she is the person that you want to vote for. Let's welcome Miss Emilia Pardo to the studio. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank y'all both for having me. I'm really excited to be here today. My name is Emilia Pardo. I'm running for Lafayette City Court Judge. I'm born and raised in Lafayette.
Okay.
So this is my community, my home. I've been a prosecutor for 17 years, and I'm also the Scott City Court magistrate, and that's been about the last year and a half. And so I've really enjoyed that position, and that position is what has kind of skyrocketed me to this decision to do this. Something I think that's important to note, the difference between a magistrate and a judge, is as a magistrate in Scott, it's a mayor's court. It's a court setting where there's Broussard, Youngsville, your different cities have these courts, and you're appointed by the city council. And so I had the, the chance to interview and the chance for the city council to make that decision to appoint me. But when you're looking at courts, like here in Lafayette City, you're running an election, and that's what I'm doing now. And having that experience behind me, sitting on the city court, a smaller one, it's kind of given me what I need to move forward and run an election.
Awesome. So let's back it up just a little bit and tell us your why. Why did you decide that becoming a city court judge was something that you wanted to do?
I think some of it has to do with my past experience, my time working in domestic violence, and then my time on the bench in Scott is what really helped me. Talking to people and meeting them where they are, that was kind of where the seed got planted. The opportunity came from the fact that Judge Saloom is retiring. And so kind of when you look at when does something line up for you in your life, I had the seed planted by feeling that on the bench I could do this job, and then having the opportunity where Judge Saloom, after 31 years, is retiring. So that opportunity kind of comes to fruition with knowing that now there's a seat that I think is meant for me, a seat that I could fill that would best suit my community. And so that's kind of my why, is kind of the background up until the now.
Okay, awesome. So what is it about city court judge that you feel that you will do different than Judge Saloom was doing while he was running that courtroom? Yeah.
I think something that makes me a little different, and that is I have a lot of compassion, and I strongly believe in the opportunity to be heard. I have always been someone who believed that everyone should have their chance to tell their story and why they're in front of you. And so I think that is something that I have, a skill that I have, that when sitting on the bench, when I open court, I always open it with explaining the process. And I think when you explain that process to people, they have a sense that comes over them, a feeling that, okay, I know what I can do I know how this process is going to move going forward. And then when that person comes up in front of you on the podium, they're nervous. You have anyone that is, a 70-year-old woman getting her first speeding ticket. You have an 18-year-old in high school, at Acadiana High when we're in Scottsdale, that this is their first speeding ticket. Those experiences kind of change how you feel. So having someone on the bench who is willing to listen And maybe in the end, I'm not ruling in their favor. Maybe they're not getting what they were arguing for, but giving them the opportunity to make their argument and knowing not only did they make it, it didn't fall on deaf ears. It fell on ears of somebody who listened, because usually when I make my ruling, when I'm coming back with it, I'm putting something they said back. Like, I know you said this, or I know you believe this, or I know you thought this. And unfortunately, that's not the way it is because of X, Y, and Z. And so I try to make a thoughtful decision and explain it to them because I've given them that opportunity to explain their position to me.
Yeah, folks want to be heard.
They do.
And so you sound like someone who is all about people being heard.
Yes.
I used to work with Judge Jules Edwards on some warrant clinics. And I remember introducing the warrant clinic to him, and he was like, it was something new, and he was interested in it. And then he took it and he shaped it and formed it to where he and Judge Saloon were doing the warrant clinic. And so being that we are an organization who work closely with justice impacted people, would that be something that you would want to be able to do in city court, is kind of pick up where Judge Edwards left off and continue the warrant clinics?
Yes. I think absolutely anything that Judge Edwards did, made a big impact on this community. He was the first judge I was in front of in Lafayette as a prosecutor. He took a lot of time to talk to me after court, to give me his critiques, his positives, and that really continued to shape me as a prosecutor. So, just to begin with, if Judge Edwards is behind it, it's something, it's strong and it's good. I do believe that carrying on his legacy and his clinic is positive. And I think we do it in a way for the community that is best, something that makes sure that we're doing it efficiently, that we're doing it at the right time, and that we're doing it in a way that's supporting the community.
Yeah, because he was big on that. He understood the fear, and he wanted to erase that fear, because people are fearful of going to court, and that's why you have these warrants. The judges end up having to put a warrant out because people either forgot or they're afraid to show up in court. And so he wanted to try to get people to start trusting the court system, because too often people have bad experiences. And so he wanted to make that experience with the city court, one that was more positive. So,
and I think there's some good education that could go with warrants. Is not all warrants don't mean jail time.
Right.
When you're looking at traffic tickets or certain things. So in city court, it's all misdemeanor offenses. Or like when you're talking about criminal, I don't mean the whole court is misdemeanor.
Right.
So you're looking at misdemeanor offenses, traffic offenses, landlord-tenant. But when you're talking about warrant, it's going to be in the criminal cases. But I think also educating that this warrant does not mean you're going to jail for 10 years or 2 days even necessarily. And so I think just that education of how can you resolve a warrant? Because your warrants can be resolved, in a process. But like you said, people are fearful of that process. They feel maybe they had a felony warrant, or maybe they had a friend who had a friend who had this happen when they went in for a warrant. So I think educating where a city court warrant, is and how to handle it could also help that process as far as them knowing what to expect to resolve the warrant and taking care of it earlier, rather than you're on your way to work, you get pulled over, and now you're being told you have a warrant. And so none of us want that situation. So we want to be able to handle it early on.
Right. So Kali Saloon, Judge Saloon, he had a program with the city marshal, and I teach that renewal program. And he was really big on giving kids a second chance, or really trying to put a halt to them getting into trouble, getting into crime, because that stuff escalates.
Yes.
You start off, once you get comfortable going into a city court, I mean, and then by the time you get to the district court, you're stuck out.
Yeah.
Right. So, do you feel the same passion about helping to fix the kids in the community? And are you willing to, like she just asked with the warrant clinic, are you willing to still continue to uphold programs and introduce programs that will help? And are you open to ideas from impacted individuals like myself and of what type of programs that the youth needs in order to deter them from the criminal system?
Yes. I'll start by saying one thing. On my website, we have put a community input form. And on the website, we're asking for people to go in and submit what is it that you think city court could. So if you have an impacted juvenile, maybe you had an experience that was positive or negative or just a little in the middle. We have a spot on my website. It's emiliapardo.com. It's EMILIAPARDO. You go to the bottom of the first page of the homepage and you can put in there what you see that could change or that could improve, that could be better. I also am meeting with organizations that both currently support City Court and those that don't currently support them to find out what programs are out there, what programs can we bring in. For me, it's all about listening. I think before you ever start by saying, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and I have this plan, I'm going to change this, I'm going to make this better, I'm going to erase this, is that you listen and that you take in what's out there. And I have been actively doing that. That is what I am trying to do, is make sure before I get on the bench and tell everybody else what they need to change or not change, that I am making sure I understand all the programs available, everything that's already in place, and what do the people servicing those programs or receiving services from those programs think could make a difference. And so I just think it's very important to be absorbing it all now and making sure that whatever I'm doing, there's no over-promising and under-delivering. You know, if we're gonna say that there's something we can do that we know for a fact, we actually can do it, it can work.
I love that.
I like
that. Yeah.
Like that. Especially because, you know, these kids today, they come with baggage.
Yeah.
They got package. So they get into trouble. A lot of times, well, I'm going to say all of the times, it's situations and circumstances. No one just wakes up and says, I want to be a criminal. I want to do something wrong and get in trouble. You know, and trauma. Where's your stand with the traumatization of kids today, of the youth today? Like, what programs, have you given that any thought, like how you would address?
So meaning before they get into the court system, is that what you mean?
Yeah, well, before, afterwards.
Okay.
You know, I mean, because I think it's important that a judge helps the whole kid.
Yes.
Right? Not just the situation, helps the whole kid and like try to figure out like what caused you when you knew you were going to get in trouble if you did that. What what allowed you to make that decision to still do it? And then, you know, a lot of answers can come from that. And I can almost bet that if you did an ACE test on these kids, you would find that these kids have a lot of ACEs that they're working with.
Right.
I think I do a lot of domestic violence work as a prosecutor. That's, I don't know if you should call it a specialty because it's not something we want to be, but that is what I prosecute, is domestic violence. So we've done a lot of trauma-informed training, and it's not specifically, like, I know you're talking about the youth. I'm not trying to pivot from that.
Right.
But when it comes to being trauma-informed, it is that looking back, is what type of household did you come up in?
Yes.
What did you see in your household? And with domestic violence, there are things that we see is, I've actually had come through the system on more than one occasion, a father for abusing his wife. And then the adult son coming through right after for abusing his mother.
Right.
And that's what he saw his dad do.
Right.
And now that's what he thinks is okay.
Yes.
And so with the juveniles, you have that, what setting were they brought up through? What were they taught? What were they taught as their reality, as opposed to maybe what my children see? And so I think being aware of that when you're on the bench is important. Because like you said, not every first offender needs to have the maximum punishment. Maybe there's a program, maybe there's someone you can team them up with in the community to show them there are better ways. There are other ways to do this, a mentoring program, big brothers, big sisters, someone to show them that there are other ways. Maybe were they stealing to help their baby sister? Were they trying to steal a car for family reasons? So I do think it's important to kind of look at the community and understand where the child is coming, where the juvenile is coming from, and even our adults too. I think it's also important to look at mental health and where mental health plays a role as far as if they're incarcerated, it's a mental health that we listen to that and that we try to get early intervention in a mental health situation at all. Because also in city court, you have, again, a maximum incarceration or even if it's not incarceration, a maximum time for probation. So if we don't address that right at the beginning, the mental health concerns, then by the time they're coming in front of the judge is kind of hands tied because there's this maximum amount of time in city court. So I think also making sure we have things that are in effect for the beginning. When it happens right at the beginning, to make sure if it's a mental health issue, if it's a mentoring issue, if we can get them services, we're getting them services right away. I've seen for a long time, sometimes when services come 3 and 4 years later, are we benefiting that family? Are we benefiting the household? And it's better than never. So I'm not trying to knock the system, at all. I mean, something's more. But if we could catch it early. I think city court has that ability a little more than district court because of the focus, on the misdemeanors and the certain crimes. I think we have that ability in city court to be catching it early and making a difference early than down the road when maybe they're no longer in city court. They're in city court and parish court. And so I think that that's also really important.
Right. So I'm thinking about Judge Garrett, the amazing work that she is doing with drug court. And reentry court. And I know it's different with city court. So in city court, I'm thinking, okay, these are folks who are probably getting traffic tickets or DWIs or DUIs. Are there any particular classes that people who get those type of tickets are able to go to? And if not, is that something that you would be exploring to get folks who probably have, alcohol, substance abuse going on, to try to get them some help?
There are court services in effect, and there are programs for when you're talking about your first offenders. Judge Gosh Garrett, I adore her. I go in front of her for my Gwen's Law hearings. She is so knowledgeable of her people. I mean, everyone to her is individual. She knows their name. She knows their background. Most times she knows their mama and daddy. I did have the benefit of going to the drug court graduation, I think it was about a week ago, and seeing everyone on stage and applauding each other for their accomplishments. I actually had one of my prior defendants come to me at that drug court graduation and thank me for being so hard on her. And she said that made a difference for her. This was a felony, just to be clear, different from city court.
Right.
But she had a background, she had a history, and I thought it was important at the time that I had her that we kind of keep strong with the offense. She has now successfully graduated drug court. She's now has a job and she's now flourishing. And sometimes that tough love is what somebody needs to make sure that they kind of propel forward. I saw another individual that just came up to me about 2 days ago, and he was so proud that he graduated and that he's moving forward. And I just think seeing those programs full circle. So being at that graduation shows you what a successful program can do. And so like bringing anything we can to Lafayette City Court on top of what is there, and to know that you're making a difference. You're truly making a difference in someone's life, because by doing that, you're adding a member to society, a member to our community who's working, who's flourishing, who's helping their community. And so I think by making that difference, we're helping our community as a whole.
Awesome. Is there something about the city court that you are like, I need to change that, I want to fix that? Is there anything that you know about the court that's happening right now or not happening that you want to try to make some improvements or do something about?
Right now, my answer is still gonna be no. As far as just saying a hard, giving you a plan right now, what my thing is right now is exploring all of it and making sure that whatever I say is my plan, I have 100% made sure that that is what is needed. So what I am doing is making sure, like I said before, that I'm well informed, that I'm getting all these pieces. Right now, Lafayette City Court is a city court that when they go to conferences, they're an example in other jurisdictions. So Lafayette City Court as a whole is a great court. And we as individuals, all we could do is always make something better. So do I think there's a place for improvements? Always. But I think that needs to come with making sure you talk to the players, making sure the funding is there, making sure people will benefit from those changes. And so I just would like to keep at this point making sure that I'm absorbing and I'm listening. And so that way, when that day comes, those decisions are made from a place that is appropriate and is going to improve this community. Yeah, and I know people would prefer to hear a great plan, you know, and it's not that, yeah, I would say it's not that I don't have, I have plans in life, you know, but I think plans should come from a place of knowledge.
Right, absolutely. So right now you're out, you're campaigning, you're door knocking.
I'm knocking.
You're getting out, meeting the community. So when you talking to people at their doors, what are you asking people to do? How are you convincing them to vote for you?
First thing is to make sure you get out and vote on November 3rd. The election is November 3rd. Early voting is October 20th to the 27th. I think informing them of that, you know, asking for their vote. I'm letting them know what my current experience is. I'm letting them know that I grew up in this community. I'm letting them know that I have children in this community. I have a husband. I'm not leaving this community. This is my community. It's where my parents raised me, where my sister lives. It's where my best friends live. And so I think that introducing myself and being very genuine. Sometimes depending on where I am, I'm telling them I grew up in this neighborhood. I grew up down the street, or I live 2 blocks from you, is really making sure that they know that I'm as relatable to them as they are to me. You know, and so I think each door, I kind of start off with the beginning. How I started off here is giving them my kind of 1 minute, really 30 seconds. I'm a prosecutor. But then I want to, you know, sometimes people say, Emilia, you remember me? You know, I was your swimming teacher. I was your 2nd grade teacher. It is so wonderful to knock on a door and realize I know them from somewhere, you know, as I was growing up. Maybe I went to school with their son or their daughter. That has been the best part, is kind of reconnecting and getting to know people where they are now and where we came. So the other day I was looking through my yearbook, just kind of trying to, you know, remember people and I was shooting pictures, sending it to my friends. Like, can you believe, like, Lafayette High, 1998.
Wow.
And so kind of remembering everything. So I just try to be personable. I mean, I think I am personable, but I want to make sure that that's a real genuine interaction.
Okay, sound like you're having fun out there.
It's hot. Ooh, but I'm walking. I got my cold water.
Do stay cool. So how can people go to your website, learn more about you, contribute to your campaign, get involved with your campaign? How can they get in contact?
You can find everything on my website. Like I said, it's EMILIAPARDO.com. You can find all the information. You can link to our Facebook. You can like it. You can share it. You can see all of our events on my homepage. You can read about me, read about my family, read about what I've done. You can, like I said, see the events. You can click on how to join Team Pardo, and you know, I welcome everyone to come, and also fill out that community input form and let us know what you need. You know, let us know what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
Thank y'all so much for having me here. Honestly, I truly appreciate it. It's been an honor.
Thank you for coming, and best of luck to you. And stay cool. Stay cool. And stay hydrated because it is hot. So we are going to get back with you shortly. Thank you for joining us on From Change to Change, and we'll see you again soon.